So the four forces are the collaborate force, which is opposed to the compete force, the create force, which is opposed to the control force, and I'll tell you how these forces work in a minute. When we talk about the Innovation U framework, and we talk about these competing values, this is what I refer to as prismatic thinking. Almost all of us have a dominant way to think. We have dominant logic. And it's kind of like being right-handed or left-handed. It's not that you can't use the other hand, it's that you have a tendency to move in one particular way. So do you know somebody in your life who their dominant logic is when things get difficult and they're trying to overcome a challenge, they become amazingly visionary? Anybody know people like that in their life? They get very big. They kind of get that big dream. It's like Walt Disney. You know, here in the swamp, which we call Orlando, there's going to be the greatest amusement park in America. And of course, there is. And that's the amazing reason we write about Disney. Do you know people in your life who, when things get difficult, turn to processes? They like to have 12 steps. This is Ray Kroc at McDonald's, where somebody who's marginally literate presses a cheeseburger button, and somebody simultaneously shoots a cow in Argentina. Bang! And kind of everything in between happens. It's a system. They've got a system for everything. They get up at a certain time. They drive to work a certain way. They've got 12 steps. They know how to use their technology. They're systems people. Do you know people who are those kind of hard-charging, bare-knuckle, laissez-faire capitalists? MBAs are like this, aren't they? They're ferocious, right? They know where they hunt like hounds. They smell money, right? We teach them to do that, and everything's a straight line. And, they'll trample you if you get in the way. And they run every day, and they're healthy, and they take the right kind of vitamins, and they've got their resume in order. Oh, you know these people, don't you? Yeah, we train a lot. We train real good ones here, right? And then finally, do you know those people who are incredible community builders? Do you know the person who knows everybody? You can get you a better deal on a car. They get your kid into a school. You know that person, right? Maybe they don't know how to do it themselves, but they sure know somebody who can, right? They have lunch a lot, and they're always charming. They got a good dirty joke whenever you talk to them. They can play golf. They drink well. Those guys. Yeah, you know those guys. So these are kind of the four archetypes. But remember, they're not just happening at individual levels. They happen in groups. They happen in groups. So some groups are really good. The sort of those startup companies, this is the group of people that you hang around with that does really artistic things and kind of was always sort of playing off each other, and they're always sort of imagining the future, and they're always trying stuff. They're always experimenting. This is the group you belong to that's taking the trip to Bali. This is the group that you belong to that's deciding what should happen with this state, even though there's problems, and the stuff that they're laying out is amazingly visionary because they're connected by vision. They're connected by process. They're connected by goals, and they're connected by values. Now, the point is, when we innovate from these different positions, from these different areas of strength, we have a tendency to innovate with specific types of practices that are optimized to us. And we have a tendency to vilify those very people who don't act like us, don't we? And we do this as nation states. We do it at all levels. So I'm somebody who spent a lot of my career in China. And somebody will say, well, at China, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Yeah, duh, right? But it's a civilization that's been thriving for 4,000 years. They have a way of doing things. This is a culture that's intact. There's nothing wrong with that culture. It's just different than our culture. Is everybody following us? It's no different when you surround yourself with the person who's the opposite. And when I say we vilify people, we do things like someone will say, we don't want this person on our team because they can't get things done on time. Have you heard that discussion? Oh, I don't want them because they don't get things done on time. Or we don't want this person on our team because they're abrasive. They're boorish, right? They'll run over people. Well, what's the point is? The point is your strength lies in the other side. Your strength lies in the challenge these guys have or these people have is they come up with a really good project idea, but they can't get the organization or the other groups of people to implement it. Nobody buys in. Why? Because we didn't talk to them. We didn't share their values, right? Their problem is, boy, everybody's bought in, but they didn't get it done in time because innovation has a shelf life. You got 90 days or 180 days or a year or 2 years, but at some point, that innovation is taken by somebody else who moves faster. So the key is, in every strength, there is a weakness. And this is an important thing to acknowledge. Now, some people are beautifully symmetrical and they're beautifully balanced. And that can mean you could do everything, or it could also mean that you're really not competent enough at anything to be good. Is everybody following us? So the key is, the more you are one type, the more you have to surround yourself with people who are another, because that's why you're not overcoming the challenge. You're not overcoming the challenge not because of your strength, because of your weakness. Now here's the secret. You're never going to be strong in the area that you're weak. You're never going to be strong in the area that you're weak. It's a hard pill to swallow, isn't it? Particularly for an educator. So what you're going to have to do is, the more you are strong in one area and are weak in another, that becomes the key to who you surround yourself with. And I want to add a piece. What you believe as the pathway to growth for yourself is not what resides. It's not the practice that you're used to. So for me, I've spent my career building businesses and building models and the theoretical world. So I'm kind of on this side of the model, right? What's the key to my success? The key to my success is going to be what? It's going to be building something that can be bigger than me. It's going to be building a community around me, hence why you're in this innovation lab. It's going to be things that I'm not good at. Now, in my plan, if I say I'm going to be good at it, I'm going to accomplish it, am I? No. So what I'm going to have to do is set that target, and then I'm going to have to put people around me who aren't like me. Am I going to really like that? Am I going to really like it when people say, this is Jeff, if you find him in Atlanta, tell him he's supposed to be in Orlando? No, I'm not. And neither are you. But the point is, they're going to be my success. And then I'm going to like taking the shots on goal that are really wild. But the key is, I'm going to have some shots on goal down here that are closer, more systematic, more process-oriented. And then finally, when it comes to learning, who's going to help me become a smarter person? The person who's like me, or the person who's different than I am? And so when I look at my life, and I look at where I've been successful in my life, it's always come from my weakness. It's always come that I put somebody in the game who had a strength where I didn't. And I want to tell you the other gift. Almost always these people are either in my life or available in my life, but I haven't used them effectively. They're here. And I believe the same is true for you. I believe these people are here. I believe these opportunities are here, but we're going to have to engage them in a constructive way. We're going to literally have to love the enemy, right? Machiavelli, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. And this is going to be our key. Not just at the personal level, at the communal level, our teams, our practices, and at the universal level, looking at those very things that we may think are wrong and using them to our advantage. So it may be terrible that the recession has created a lot of convergence, a lot of tightening, a lot of doing more with less, but maybe that creates opportunities up here, doesn't it? Might create opportunities for new ways of governing, for new ways of building a business, for new ways of being employed. That's the key. The key is prismatic thinking. It's not about being better in what you're strong at. It's about looking in your blind spot and surrounding yourself with resources to get better at the very things that we typically miss.